we don't get the same things. Okay, and that's another one. Another reroll. And everybody, this is Rob, and welcome back, Commanders. We have our continuing our series here of Brick Ops, and last time we were only able to get a couple of, according to my minute report, we were only able to get a couple of turns off, and we were only able to do a couple of phases. We were able to do 3 phases, and unfortunately, we had to um, it, remove a civilian from the area because they ran into an industrial accident. So it's not looking good for the recon team so far. But hopefully, I checked the ranges again and I checked the viewpoints again, and there's a couple of possible firing solutions that are relatively close by. I've also decided to go ahead and increase the movement back up to 2 because I took a look at the scale again and I said, you know what, this would take a very long time, much longer than I planned, because in order for it to get that guy over here in any sort of firing position would at least take 2 or 3 turns, and we don't have that amount of time. So we're going to go ahead and move everybody back up to 2. Ideally, they would move at the rate of their own movement speed, um, but the game also says that you can decide whether something is rough or light terrain, and I've decided that this is very rough terrain because they are in an urban environment and that it's slightly densely populated. So they try to be careful about the civilians, and so they don't harm the civilians. Uh, that is not their objective. Their objective, if you remember, the recon team objective is to recapture the black box that the enemy team has made off with. We need to pick up the commander again. He fell off once again, but he's still doing a pretty good job of making me lose. Yeah, even though as unstable as he is, so we'll just go ahead and put him back there. If he does it again, well, you can't help some things. I guess we try to make him much more stable, but that's okay. So, they are trying to recapture the black box that this commander has. And if I make that to the dust off point here, where I destroy the entire enemy force without destroying the black box, and then the player wins. If either the black box is destroyed, a number of civilians have to be removed from the field, or that the enemy makes off with the black box and transmits it to orbit via their hidden transmission in the bar over there, then I also lose. So there's 3 points of fear that we really don't want to have because I've lost the last 2 games. But hopefully, with this squad, we won't have that trouble, and I might actually get to see if I can't get a win in. So we were looking at player ranges because we rolled up the player shoot phase, and because nobody was within range, nobody gets to shoot. So what do? We have to roll for phase again and to see what phase rolls up, because I am using a spinner uh, instead of the counter that I want you to use because I found spinners more exciting. Um, we are using the spinners because it also uh, adds a lot less what they like to call frictionless. So let's go ahead and see which phase we can get next. And there's only at least, I believe, 3 phases left, so we probably have to reroll here. Yep, that's 1 reroll. And I guess this wouldn't be a problem if we went with the cups and the counters method, but I did not find that fun at all, especially with the incapacitation counters or the moon counters, because I don't probably doing it incorrectly and grabbing the same ones over and over again, but there is no, I don't know what to do about that other than do something like this. We did get the AI movement phase though, so that is different. The AI does get to move. That is, well, let's call it minute 4, order 4. Move. So another thing about the movement phase is that if anybody is in close combat range, which is 1 one bit away, then the targets attempt to get into close combat mode. But I don't believe we'll have anything of like that nature here. So we'll just go ahead and move the AI to where it wants to go, and to do that, we need to roll a d6. And let's see, we have a couple of instructions for the AI. If it rolls a 0, which it can, it needs to roll out of player's sight. If it rolls a 1, it needs to get the nearest cover. If it rolls a 2, it can move towards the nearest objective. 3 to 4, the objective or the nearest target, whichever is closer. And 5 plus, the nearest target. I forget what can actually uh, make that go up or down, but let's go ahead and get our roll here and see where our AI is going to move. And that is a 1, and that is nearest cover. So let's go ahead and try and move everybody into some sort of cover here. They'll be are pretty much in good cover, but they do need to move. So, and nobody is within firing range. So we're going to go ahead and move. Because that would put them in fire range, and we don't want to do that. Even though they would probably be in light cover, but heavier cover is better because the range and the vision is side to side. So if these two see each other, and they also see that they have a couple of firing options over here, so they're going to avoid that area and probably move closer over to here. So let's go ahead and move them their 2 spaces, a 1 and a 2. And let's go ahead and see if we can't move anybody else out of the way. And because figures block each other's line of sight, they count as kind of cover. So we'll go ahead and move this guy 1, 1, and let's move him slightly out of the way. And 2, and since nobody is within range, let's go ahead and move this guy over 1 and over to 2, trying to create a bit of a corner here. And move this 1 and a 2, and a 1 and a 2. And I don't think this guy needs to move, but it does say we need to move things, so we'll go ahead and move them over that way, slightly even more behind cover. So that is the AI movement, and nobody is within range, nobody is within melee range, so we need to go ahead and roll for another movement phase. So let's see, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Excuse me. 6 phases. We've rolled 4, so we're gonna have to do a lot of re-rolling here, provided. Yep, we don't get the same things. Okay, and that's another one. Another re-roll. And then we get an AI shoot phase, which we have not gotten. Sadly, I don't think anybody is within range, but I could be very wrong because I forgot the range of some of these, and some of these are a very long range. Let's go ahead and take a look at the enemy AI roster, which is this one right here. We got a couple of A24s here, and we need to check to see if anybody is within range and within line of sight. They are definitely within line of sight. Looks like we got at least 2 targets within line of sight, and at least 1 target within line of sight, because that's probably like covered. And I think that's putting in a bit of a stretch, because there's some sort of a shadow or shade blocking the way, and I think only 1 guy would be within range, and it's Mr. Black Trooper here. So I'm going to go ahead and check what's in range, and whoever has a 24. And that 24 would be our spider droid here, which is Spindle Legs. Then he has a range of 24, and the 24 is this top one over here. And let's check to see if anybody is within range from what. No, wait, and luckily nobody is within range from any sort of enemy fire at all. And there's nobody over this way, so nobody is within the enemy AI range. So that's a good one for me. And that means there's only 1 phase left. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You have a pencil. You are writing this down in pencil. You can erase things. 5, and that means the only move left is for the player. Nope, that means, nope, not firefight. We had firefight, and I shoot, and I move, player shoot, player move. And that means end phase. We can go on to the end phase, and that means we've seen each and every single phase so far, at least in this session. Now that the end phase, return all counters to the cup. I don't have any counters. Make a control roll. We don't have any cards up since we did not buy any of those, so that doesn't apply to us. Player rolls higher, and rolls higher. At the end of this phase, return all phase chips to the cup and begin a new turn. Alright, so that is going to be our second turn of this session.